first, I acknowledge your heart, like your intentions are in the right place, but you don't have to sit in chaos because you get to decide, you get to take action. You're a problem solver. You're a son of God. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And so you give it the positive affirmation that it needs to shift that story. And so you're giving it truth. That's the identity piece. And then you're going to give him a new sentence to say. Instead of saying chaos is comfortable, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm a problem solver. I'm the type of man that figures out any solution to any problem and look at the track record of all the things I've done before. And so you're giving that positive affirmation, but also giving a new sentence structure to approach those challenges with. That makes sense, y'all? Cole, perfect. Yes. I've shared this with you guys. This is, I forget where this quote comes from, but you will choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And so when we have these stories that are running on auto program and we keep getting the same type of negative results in our life. So we have the things we want, we do, we're trying to change our thinking, and we keep repeating this kind of like vicious pattern where we just stay stuck and we feel like we're just repeating the same thing over and over again. We're on this hamster wheel, this loop, this lap in the desert. What we're doing is we're choosing a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And that's a really good indicator that we have a story that's out of alignment. And so when we face those experiences, rather than be like, oh, man, I'm in this again, and we go through the shame and guilt cycle, treat that as like a great opportunity that you are becoming aware. Oh, this means that what I'm telling myself, my identity is rooted in a story that's completely false. And so the signal from whatever failure that you're hitting is a signal to let you know that there's an identity piece. There's a core story that you're telling about whatever that is, that thing that you're seeking is off. And if you can change that story, you change every other ring in this. You change how you feel about it. And I just noticed with you, Josh, is that when you repeated chaos is comfortable, your physiology changed. That's your emotions. And you feel it. And then your thinking changed. Man, it's in every single area of life. I just haven't been able to get out of this. Versus when we talked about, I am capable of solving any problem that I face, and I've done it repeatedly, your physiology changed. You're like, it is true. And it does feel different. It does feel different. That means we're doing the right thing. We're going from our story and identity into our emotions, into the way that we think, so that our actions, that's the doing, that's the physical doing, can shift so that we can have the results we want and keep it. Did you guys notice that like physiology change as we were talking about those mechanisms? So first you're going to notice one that's going to feel completely off. And that's the old core story that keeps you stuck as that 7-year-old versus being a very conscious adult that gets to rechange that truth from the inside out. Mm. Is it making sense for y'all?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Homework, your stretch. You can take a screenshot of this. Let's start looking at the domains that you don't have the results that you want, and then shift the story. And then the visual for this, guys, is this is kind of like, this is like stepping into a coaching and a counseling mechanic of inner child work. But if we know that our subconscious and that younger self, that's where all of our core stories were created. What we have to do as men is to have relatively frequent moments where we reparent. The same way you guys are great conscious parents with your physical children now, we have to do that with ourselves because mom and dad didn't. And so we have to change our thinking, our feelings, and our emotions and give our inner selves, our younger selves, that correct truth. Otherwise, they're running off these false stories that end up creating all kinds of negative patterns that I know what we're already experiencing. And so the work inside of this is once you have that positive affirmation, that story that is going to serve you, You're taking some conscious time to journal, reflect, meditate, and literally have an internal dialogue with yourself where you're changing the truth that you've been living by. Awesome. Cool. Hopefully that hit a couple points for y'all. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for being vulnerable, open, and honest, and showing up on these calls. This is the work. This is the work that's really gonna create a positive impact, leave a legacy, and positively affect future generations. The chains that we don't break get passed on to our family. And while it may feel uncomfortable for you in this moment, it's a comfort, it's a discomfort that I know every one of you are willing to do in the service for your family and for the visions that you want to create. And I will say this on the other side is that it's uncomfortable in the beginning, but just like anything that you've ever done that's uncomfortable, jujitsu, running a marathon, ultra marathon, it gets significantly easier the more that you practice it. So the first step is awareness, and that's for like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize there's so much I didn't know about this thing. Totally fine. That's normal. Just like jujitsu. Just like jujitsu, if you've ever been roped up, tied up, and had another dude on top of you sweating and choking you out, it's just like that.